There are moments in life when a person does not lose because they are weak. They lose because they stop believing that small things matter. A small smile. A kind word. Waking up 10 minutes earlier. Keeping one promise. Saying, "I'm sorry." Helping someone who cannot help you back. These things may look tiny, but sometimes tiny habits become the reason a broken life begins to heal. And what if the person who discovered this truth was a powerful CEO who had millions of dollars, a beautiful house, and everything money could buy, but could not save the one thing he wanted most? Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Destino Tracy, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Your comment may be the encouragement someone else needs today. The story began in a busy American city on a cold Monday morning. At exactly 6 a.m., Daniel Brooks opened his eyes. His alarm was ringing. He reached out and turned it off. Then he stared at the ceiling. For years, Daniel had started his mornings the same way. Wake up. Check his phone. Read emails. Check the stock market. Make calls. Work. Work more. And work even more. Daniel was the CEO of a large technology company. His face appeared in business magazines. His company had offices in several states. He owned a large house on a hill, drove expensive cars, and wore watches that cost more than some people earned in a year. People thought Daniel had won at life. But they did not know what happened when he came home. His house was always quiet. Too quiet. His wife had left 2 years earlier. His teenage daughter, Emma, rarely spoke to him. And his younger brother, Michael, had stopped answering his calls. Daniel had money. But he had slowly lost the people who once made that money meaningful. He walked into his kitchen. A woman named Rosa was cleaning the floor. She was the housekeeper. "Good morning, Mr. Brooks," she said with a smile. Daniel looked at his phone. "Morning." Rosa paused. She had worked in the house for almost 6 years. She knew Daniel was not a bad man. But she also knew he had forgotten how to be present. "Your breakfast is ready," she said. "I don't have time." "You said that yesterday." Daniel looked up. "What?" Rosa smiled gently. "You said the same thing yesterday." Daniel became quiet. Then he picked up his briefcase. "I have a meeting." He walked out. He did not see the sadness in Rosa's eyes. He did not know that this ordinary morning would become the beginning of the biggest lesson of his life. At 7:15 a.m., Daniel arrived at his company. The lobby was filled with employees. Everyone stood straighter when he walked by. "Good morning, sir." "Morning, Mr. Brooks." "Good morning." Daniel nodded but said nothing. Near the elevator, an elderly janitor was cleaning the floor. His name was Samuel. He was 72 years old. He had worked at the company for almost 11 years. Daniel walked past him. Then Samuel accidentally dropped his cleaning cloth. It landed near Daniel's shoes. Samuel quickly bent down. "I'm sorry, sir." Daniel looked at him. "You should be more careful." Samuel nodded. "Yes, sir." Daniel entered the elevator. The doors closed. Samuel watched them disappear. He sighed. But he did not become angry. He simply picked up the cloth and continued working. That was Samuel's habit. Whenever life pushed him down, he stood back up. He had learned that many years ago. Daniel had no idea that the old janitor would soon teach him something no business school ever could. That afternoon, Daniel sat in a meeting with his executives. The company was losing money. "We need to cut costs," one executive said. "How much?" Daniel asked. $8 million. Daniel leaned back. "Where?" The executive opened a report. Staff. Cleaning. Security. Maintenance. Small departments. Daniel nodded. Do it. Nobody questioned him. The decision looked simple. Numbers on a screen. Names on a list. But behind every name was a family. A rent payment. A child. A medical bill. A dream. And Daniel did not think about any of that. He only thought about profit. That evening, he returned home late. His daughter Emma was sitting in the living room. She was 16. Daniel stopped. You're still awake? Yes. Why? I wanted to talk to you. Daniel checked his watch. Can it wait until tomorrow? Emma looked down. You always say tomorrow. Daniel became uncomfortable. I've had a difficult day. So have I. He looked at her. What happened? Emma took a breath. My school has a parent event next Friday. Daniel said nothing. I wanted you to come. I'll try. You said that last time. Daniel looked away. I'll do my best. Emma stood. You know what, Dad? What? I don't need your best. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? I need you. She walked upstairs. Daniel remained standing in the room. For the first time that day, he had no email to answer. No meeting to attend. No problem he could solve with money. Just silence. The next morning, Daniel arrived at work early. He saw Samuel in the lobby. The old janitor was sitting on a small bench, holding a paper cup of coffee. Daniel almost walked past him. But then he remembered Emma. He stopped. Samuel. The old man looked surprised. Yes, sir. How long have you worked here? Samuel smiled. Almost 11 years. Why? Samuel laughed softly. That is a strange question. Daniel waited. Samuel looked around the empty lobby. My wife passed away 12 years ago. After that, I needed work. I'm sorry. Thank you. You have children? One daughter. Where is she? Samuel looked down. She lives in another state. Do you see her? Not often. Daniel nodded. Samuel smiled. But I call her every Sunday. Daniel looked at him. Every Sunday? Every Sunday. What if you're busy? Samuel laughed. Sir, everybody is busy. Daniel smiled slightly. Samuel continued. But people make time for what they love. Those words stayed with Daniel. People make time for what they love. That night, Daniel went home earlier than usual. He found Emma in the kitchen. Are you hungry? She looked surprised. Are you okay? Daniel smiled. I wanted to ask you something. What? Do you want to eat dinner with me? Emma stared at him. Then she smiled. Okay. It was a small moment. Nothing dramatic happened. No music. No applause. But something had changed. Daniel had started a new habit. He began spending 20 minutes every evening without his phone. 20 minutes talking to Emma. The first few days were awkward. They talked about school. Movies. Food. Friends. Sometimes they sat in silence. But Daniel kept showing up. Every day. 20 minutes. Then 30. Slowly, Emma began opening her heart again. At work, Daniel tried something else. Every morning, before checking his emails, he greeted 5 employees by name. He thanked the security guard. He asked the receptionist how her mother was doing. He stopped to speak with Samuel. At first, people thought he was acting. Then they realized he was changing. But Daniel's business problems were still there. His company was losing millions. His board wanted action. One Friday afternoon, Daniel received a message. His financial advisor told him that his company might collapse within months unless something changed. That evening, Daniel sat alone in his office. He looked at the city through the glass window. Thousands of lights were shining below. He had spent 20 years building an empire. And now it was slipping away. His phone rang. It was Michael, his younger brother. Daniel stared at the screen. He had not heard Michael's voice in almost 3 years. He answered. "Hello?" There was silence. Then Michael said, "Dad is sick." Daniel froze. "What?" "Our father." Daniel sat down. "How bad?" "Very bad." Daniel closed his eyes. His father had always been a proud man. Years ago, Daniel and Michael had fought over money. Daniel had offered to buy their father's old house. Michael had accused him of trying to control everyone. They never repaired the relationship. "Where is Dad?" Daniel asked. "At the hospital." Daniel stood immediately. "I'm coming." He drove through the night. For the first time in years, Daniel did not care about business. He only cared about getting there. When he entered the hospital room, his father looked very weak. Michael stood beside the bed. Daniel stopped at the door. His father opened his eyes. "Daniel?" Daniel walked closer. "Dad." His father smiled. "You finally came." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. "I should have come sooner." His father reached for his hand. "You still have time." Daniel sat beside him. For several minutes, neither man spoke. Then his father whispered something Daniel never expected. "Son, success is not what you keep." Daniel looked at him. "It is what you give while you still have time." Daniel began to cry. His father squeezed his hand. "Don't wait until people are gone to love them." That night changed Daniel forever. The next morning, he returned home and made a decision. He would stop trying to change his whole life in one day. Instead, he would change one small thing every day. He woke up early. He exercised for 15 minutes. He wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. He called his father. He called Michael. He ate breakfast with Emma. He listened. He apologized when he was wrong. He thanked people. And every night, he asked himself one question. Did I make someone's life better today? At first, nothing magical happened. His company was still struggling. His father was still sick. His relationship with Michael was still damaged. But Daniel continued. One day at a time. One habit at a time. One kind action at a time. Then something unexpected happened. Daniel arrived at work one morning and found hundreds of employees gathered in the lobby. He looked confused. What is happening? Samuel stepped forward. We heard about the layoffs. Daniel looked at him. We're trying to save the company. Samuel nodded. We know. Then he handed Daniel a folder. What is this? Read it. Daniel opened it. Inside were letters. Hundreds of letters. Employees had written down ideas for saving money without firing workers. Some suggested reducing waste. Some offered to work flexible hours. Others offered to take temporary pay cuts. One employee had even created a new business plan. Daniel looked up. Who organized this? Samuel smiled. Everyone. Daniel was speechless. These were the same people he had once seen as numbers. Now they were standing together to save the company. Why? Because Daniel had started treating them like human beings. He had changed his habits. And slowly, they had changed too. But the story was not over. 3 months later, the company received a major contract. The new plan worked. The company began recovering. Daniel could have celebrated by buying another car. Instead, he did something different. He created a small fund for employees facing emergencies. He called it the Second Chance Fund. It helped workers pay unexpected medical bills, rent, and school costs. When someone asked why he created it, Daniel simply said, "Because sometimes one difficult month should not destroy an entire family." Then came another surprise. Daniel received a letter from Samuel. He opened it in his office. The letter said, "Mr. Brooks, I want to thank you. But not for the money. Thank you for saying hello every morning. For remembering my name. For asking about my daughter. You made me feel visible again." Daniel read the letter twice. Then he noticed a small photograph inside. It was Samuel's daughter. On the back were 3 words. "She forgave me." Daniel called Samuel. "What happened?" Samuel smiled. "My daughter saw how I was helping people here. She called me." Daniel smiled. "That's wonderful." Samuel became quiet. "She said she was proud of me." Daniel felt tears in his eyes. "That is wonderful." Samuel replied, "You taught me something too." "What?" "That small things can bring people back." Daniel looked at the photograph. "No, Samuel." He smiled. "You taught me that." Months passed. Daniel's father eventually passed away peacefully. At the funeral, Daniel stood beside Michael. The brothers had spent years fighting. But now they stood together. Michael looked at him. "Dad would be happy." Daniel nodded. "I hope so. He always believed you would change." Daniel looked down. "I wish I had changed sooner." Michael placed a hand on his shoulder. "Maybe you changed at exactly the time you needed to." Daniel hugged his brother. For the first time in many years, they cried together. Later that evening, Daniel returned home. Emma was waiting. "Dad?" "Yes?" "Are you okay?" Daniel smiled. "I think I am." Emma hugged him. And Daniel realized something. He had spent years trying to build a life that looked successful. But the life he truly wanted was much simpler. A daughter who trusted him. A brother who forgave him. Employees who respected him. A father whose final words he would never forget. And a heart that was finally learning how to be grateful. The next morning, Daniel woke up at 6 a.m. His alarm rang. He turned it off. But this time, he did not reach for his phone. He opened the window. The morning air entered the room. He smiled. Then he wrote 3 things in a notebook. My family. My second chance. Today. He closed the notebook. Then he walked downstairs. Rosa was cleaning the kitchen. Good morning, Rosa. She looked up. Good morning, Mr. Brooks. Daniel smiled. Thank you for everything you do. Rosa stopped. She looked at him for a moment. Then she smiled. You're welcome. It was only one sentence.